Hey HS peeps, welcome back to another episode of the HSP Experience. It's November 19th, 2019, and I have two topics today. The first one is going to be on depression and wanting to disappear from life. I've been experiencing that lately, or I just went through that. I'm kind of over it now, thank goodness. And the second one is the number one dating tip for INFP men, and probably INFJs or any NF types. We'll get to that. That should be kind of fun. So yeah, I missed you guys. Apologies for being gone so long. I went through, and I've just been depressed. I've been going through crazy bouts of depression, and I've had depression before all my life, on and off, but I'm generally 80% of the time pretty happy. But this last probably like 7 months, I've really been having really bad depression, and a lot of it has to do with this existential, not crisis, but I guess you could call it an existential crisis, but it's more, I don't know, I'm just not happy with a lot of things in my life at the moment. But overall, things are good. October was great. We had a HSP party, my meetup group. We got together, had a cool party at my house, and then we all Ubered over to another massive party downtown, and that was pretty fun. Yeah, that was really fun. Anyway, I hope you guys had a good October and a good Halloween. That party was probably one of the best parties I've ever been to. It was it was next level. Some rich guy threw it. We just crashed it. Yeah, it was fun. We came late, so the HSPs just showed up and we're like, "What's up? We're here." Yeah, and nobody even actually knew who we were. I was dressed like a convict. That was fun. So then my daughter had a birthday a couple weeks ago, so she's 12 now, and she's doing awesome. Yeah, but this depression, it's so annoying. It's very heavy, and how it manifests is it makes me not want to be here. Not really like suicidally. I just want to not be in life. I want to just get off the merry-go-round for like a month. That's kind of how it manifests. I just get sick of everything. Going to work, answering to people, being responsible, putting up with people's bullshit, all for a paycheck or all for just to keep the peace or whatever, all the reasons that we can't make our true feelings known sometimes, or we can't be as creative as we want to be because there's all these things that are hedging us in, right? They're whether it's work, job, boss, a significant other, some kind of circumstance where we just can't be our true selves. We're like, we just have to have this persona to survive in the world, but deep down we know it's fake. We're so much deeper and more interesting than the persona that we have to play sometimes. So I even tried one of those online therapy apps. Have you seen those? There's one, I think BetterHelp is one. That's the one I tried. There's another one called Very Well Mind. I thought, I can't afford a therapist, and I really need a therapist. I'm telling you, I am just like, that's part of my problem. I'm going through life without someone to be accountable to and someone to bounce ideas off of. That's really what I'm missing. Yeah, because since I left that religion that I was in, this evangelical Christian religion that I was in for 25 years, which I have no regrets. I'm glad I did. It was super psychologically harmful. It gave me like complex PTSD. I'm still getting over it. I'm better off than I was, but that really screwed me up. I feel sorry for anybody in a authoritarian type religion. So anyway, so I signed up for one of these online therapy things, and it sucked. I don't know if I would love to get your feedback, but you get like a free session. But it's all online. And so you basically have a form you fill out and you tell them like what you're going through. So I was like, I'm kind of depressed and just some stuff, right? And they literally sent me back something I could have Googled myself. And there was even an article. It was like, oh my God, really? This is what you do? It was ridiculous. And then you can pay more money to do like face-to-face interviews or, sessions. I think I did a couple, like 4, and it was nothing that I couldn't think of myself. And that's the thing, like with INFPs and sensitive people, but I know especially INFP types, I think INFJ types too, sensitive or intuitive types, we are pretty good at analyzing ourselves. Like we're our own best therapist. We can get pretty far. But once we get to that deep bedrock layer stuff, that's childhood stuff, we need like a real therapist, like someone who knows what they're talking about. I think a lot of these cheap therapists and these online therapists, they're for people that they're not really good at self-reflecting or self-analysis. And so the most basic analysis will help them have some epiphany, and they'll be like, wow, I never thought of that. Where we're like, yeah, I thought of that like when I was 16. Like I already know like this basic psychology. So your mileage may vary with those things. I thought it was a complete waste of money, and I'm not a fan of those. But I'm not a fan of most therapists. Like I talked about on one of my other podcasts, almost all the therapists I go to are pretty terrible. They don't have good intuition. They take forever to figure out what is wrong with you. They're just not sensitive people. I think the best therapists are INFPs. I think probably INFPs would be the best, but maybe INFJs, but anybody who's an empath. But a lot of them aren't, and they might gain experience over the years to be able to see patterns, but damn, I mean, I'm a software developer, but I'm still a better therapist than a lot of these therapists I've gone to. I can talk to somebody for 5 minutes and know so much about them. It's our intuition is just, and our empathy and our empathic skills are just next level. So yeah, that was a waste of time, but I was trying to do different things. But yeah, I just had this overwhelming feeling of just not wanting to be around. I wanted to disappear, and I didn't know that was depression. I was even telling people like, man, I just want to disappear. I just want to leave. I'm so sick of everything. It was just this feeling of overwhelm and uselessness and regret from stuff that happened to me, like with that religion. And it's like, man, I wish I would be in a different place in life right now if I would have been able to make different choices. And I don't know, probably because I'm almost 50. I'm 49 now. And you start thinking about that kind of stuff, right? You're like, maybe it's an age thing. I think you got to live long enough to have enough life to reflect on, to where you're either going to be happy with where you're at in midlife, or you're going to have regrets. I don't really have regrets. I just feel like I didn't really get to live my true calling as an empath and an INFP and a sensitive person. But it's not over yet. I still got time to change it, but it's really hard to change course in midlife. Anyway, yeah, so that's that. So anyway, I don't know. I just wanted to share that with you because I know a lot of HSPs are depressed, INFPs, INFJs. We can really ruminate and just go down the rabbit hole of, and just feeling like shit. And so what I have done is, one thing I did is, after October, I decided to take a break from drinking because I know for me, drinking can really mess with my serotonin levels, and it can cause depression for sure. I mean, that's just basic biology. So I'm doing no bender November, and I think I have like 23 days now because I actually started a few days early. But personally, I don't think I have a drinking problem, but I do binge drink occasionally because that's just what I do. And I think, I've gotten a lot of emails from other sensitive people, INFPs, that, they'll drink too sometimes because it does quiet the mind. It lowers anxiety. It makes you happy temporarily. And if you're in a social setting, it is like a shield from all the stimulation that's coming at us. And, it works. But the problem is sometimes the cost is not worth the benefit. So if you are a drinker and you're depressed, take a break, because my mood is way better. I can tell just chemically. So I quit drinking in the beginning of the month, but I'll probably drink next month. I don't know, but I started exercising like crazy, running. I even meditated a little bit, just doing all the self-care stuff, trying to just fire up my feel-good chemicals in my brain. I've been trying to socialize, but I've been kind of down. Yeah. I'm a little down. I'm really not trying to be all depressed on this podcast. I'm normally not, but I try to be real with you guys because it's not all good times for us sensitive people. I mean, look, think about it. We're 20% of the population, so already 80% of the world is not even set up for our personality types. Then I'm an INFP, so that's 4% personality type. If you're an INFJ, you're like 1%. So no wonder we get depressed because this world is way overstimulating. It's very competitive. It's not really set up, and nobody gives a shit about us. Like, one of the things that I'm dealing with after leaving my religion is that, I'm an atheist now, right? I'm a secular humanist. I don't believe in a personal God. And if you do, that's cool. I'm not knocking it. I just don't see the evidence for it. So I am a materialist, right? I go through this world now. Basically, this is it. And, one thing I miss about having a faith-based worldview is nobody cares. Like, I cried a lot this last couple months. There was a few bad mornings when I cried all the way to work. It was pretty bad, but I know y'all can relate. Some of y'all can relate. But I remember thinking, man, when you're like a Christian, there's a verse in the Bible that says God counts your tears. He knows when you cry and he cares, right? So I remember when I used to cry years ago, I'd think like, well, at least God sees my pain and he cares. He's looking out for me, Now you cry, I'm just alone in the universe crying in my car. Nobody cares. Oh, it's so messed up. So yeah, it's like, that's a weird feeling. That's new for me. So yeah, crying alone on Earth. So yeah, that's always fun. So I'm in a good spot today, though. Obviously, when I do the podcast, I'm in a good spot because I get creative. I can't be creative when I'm depressed. Depression just kills my ambition and I just hide. Like, I'll get up and I'll go to work, but I'm not there. Like, I'm hiding in plain sight when I'm depressed. I'll go through the motions. But I've been doing pretty good. And again, I just share this with you guys because I know some of you listening to me right now are depressed and probably want to disappear. And I just want you to know you're not alone. That's why I share my life with you. I got an email from somebody a couple months ago. Actually, it was a YouTube comment. And she was like, I think it was a she. Anyway, I don't know. But this person was like, well, you only talk about yourself on the podcast. And I'm thinking, yeah, no shit. That's what I have to give the world is my experience. Like, plus it's my podcast. But it's like, that's what I'm doing. This podcast is meant to share the stuff I've been through in life so people can relate to it, hopefully. And I know it's not for everybody, and everything I share, people aren't going to relate to, but I just thought it was the weirdest comment. It's like, what do you want me to do? Fucking juggle? I share my life here. It's not for everyone. I get it. That's why I don't have Joe Rogan podcast numbers. Oh, speaking of that, I know a couple people sent emails that they wanted me to interview them. I will get to that. I'm changing it up a few things. I'm going to take all the Patreon stuff down for one thing. I don't want people subscribing to me. Sorry, I don't want people subscribing to me monetarily because I'm too inconsistent. But I will leave the PayPal button up on the website if you just want to throw some money at me just because, why not? Just to help support the podcast. I have to pay hosting fees and stuff, but just keep it simple here. And then I do want to interview people, but I need to get my momentum back and I need to figure out how to do it. I tried to set it up and I was like, there was like this massive audio delay. It was like a mess. So I'll get that going. So stay tuned. But in the meantime, I'm just going to monologue and share HSP stuff with you guys. Hope you're cool with that. I did get lots of emails while I wasn't making podcasts. People were writing me. I super appreciate it. I really want to share one with you that helped me kind of make this podcast tonight. And because I was in this mode where, when I get depressed, I think like, what's the point? Nobody cares. This podcast sucks. It's just a pity. It's just self-pity, right? And this email came through, and it really helped remind me that people do like this podcast. I mean, even if it's 20 people, if it helps one person, it's worth it, right? Because otherwise, what's the point of all these experiences that I've had and you've had, and we share? If we can't help each other with the crazy stuff we've gone through, there's no point. So I appreciate it. So this email's, I won't use the name because I don't know if they want me to, but it says, "Hi, I hope everything is good with you. I'm one of your followers on your YouTube channel, and I was worried for you not making a new podcast. I can relate a lot when you talk about yourself, especially with depression that comes and goes. But I think I'm still thinking that you are somehow stronger than me, so you will be there for us always, no matter what happens in your life. So for that reason, I just send this message. So stay strong and be positive, and always remember someone is waiting for your next podcast. Hope that you never need this letter anyway." Well, I did need that letter. I appreciate it. That really helped. It was like a burst of sunlight through the clouds when I got that. This happens to me, so thank you so much. I think, hopefully you hear this. That was cool. That really helped me. When I first started this podcast, I think I'd done like 2 or 3. The first couple I even took down because I overshared. But I remember I was laying on this couch, and I was in this depression. It was like 2 years ago. And I was like really fresh off the divorce, totally lost, trying to do this podcast because I'm trying to just do something meaningful. And I remember I had been on some bender. I was drinking for like a couple days straight, just pity party. And I was hungover on the couch, full of self, just full of self-loathing, all this bullshit. And I actually got an email. No, it was a comment on my website on one of my YouTube channels. And this guy was just like, "I love your videos. I can relate. You helped me with something I had said." And I was like, wow, this really can help people. And I remember thinking, okay, let's do this. And that's really what got me really to like go up to the point that the podcast is right now. But then I go through these phases, and I wonder if you guys can relate, but you go through these phases where you could be like a really good artist. It could be anything, but you go through these periods of self-doubt, and you need those people to come alongside and be like, "Nah, I believe in you. You're good. Like what you're doing is good." Because we just have this self-loathing and this self-critical voice, and we're perfectionists. And if it's not perfect, it sucks. And other people are like, no, it's good. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, I used to draw a lot, and I'm a pretty good drawer, like most INFPs are. Sensitive types are. And I used to draw, and I would make one mistake, and I'd want to rip up the paper and be like, "I ruined it." And my friends would be like, "No, it's good. Let me have it," because we just see every flaw. But we also see all the nuance and all the beauty too. So it's the blessing of the curse of the sensitive nervous system and psyche. So that was a really cool email. I got another one here. It says, "I just discovered your podcast a few weeks ago, and now I've been listening to it a lot. It's good that someone out there can talk about all these topics, and you are really doing a great job. I'm an HSP and INFJ, currently struggling. I feel like no one really understands me, and to be honest, sometimes I don't understand myself. I wish I could find HSP or INFX friends, but I don't know how to look for them. There's no meetup in the city that I live in. Anyway, I just wanted to say that I really enjoy your podcast, that I listen sometimes when I go to my job. It's an hour of a subway to get there, and it gives me plenty of time. Thank you for what you're doing. Keep it up." That's pretty cool. I appreciate that. And then Sean from INFP HD sent me an email. He's just like, "Hey, dude, what's up? How you been?" He's checking in on me. Thanks, Sean. I'm still here, man. I'm not going away. Shout out to you, man. You're good. You're a good dude. So yeah, that's pretty, I got some other ones too, but people were sending me emails. So thank you. All right. So that's enough of the depression topic. I just wanted to share it because I know people can relate. But my life is good. I'm happy. I love this fall vibe. Introverts love the fall and the winter, right? It's like we really introvert, but it's good. It's good. It feels nice. All right. So our next topic is the number one dating tip for INFP and HSP men. So I'm freestyling this podcast. This one is definitely going to be more off the top of my head, stream of consciousness. But I wanted to talk about this because I think a lot of introverted males, but especially HSP and INFP and INFJ type males, are really going to relate to this. So let me do a little backstory here. So as a sensitive man, an INFP male, I have a lot of women friends, right? Because out of all the MBTI types, INFP has the most feminine energy. And what is feminine energy? Feminine energy is basically, it's agreeable, it's more passive, it's accommodating, while masculine energy is like more being in control, and it can actually be more controlling. But it doesn't mean we're feminine, like as men, it just means that we identify and we appreciate and we sense feminine energy. We're comfortable around it. So, but we're also, it doesn't mean you can't be a man if you're an INFP. I mean, I have guns, I go shooting. Oh man, now we're getting into weird, like stereotypical masculine, feminine things. But you get my point. But, I'm the kind of guy, like at a party, you'll find me kicking it with the women talking, because I love talking about like emotions, feelings, just that kind of thing. Like at a party, a lot of the guys will be talking, they'll be just like they'll be surrounding like someone's Mustang, and they'll have the hood up, and they'll be like, man, check out the engine, which I like that kind of stuff too. Like I'm down with like muscle cars and stuff, but it just bores me to talk about it all the time. Like I want to talk about like deep stuff, right? And women, man, they will definitely talk about like the stuff I'm interested in, the head stuff, right? The mental stuff. So I'm sure a lot of you sensitive men can relate to that. You probably have a lot of women friends, especially if you're INFP. It's just, we just click. And almost all my women friends that I get along with really good are INFJs. There is something about INFJ women and INFP men, or vice versa, or just not even men and women, just those two MBTI types, INFJs and INFPs, they make the best friends. It could be male and male too. It doesn't really matter, but it just happens in my world. I'm the INFP male, and I have all these INFJ women friends, and they are hilarious. They are the funniest people I know. It's like hanging out with like Sarah Silverman and Kathy Griffin, and pick your funny women comedians. They crack me up. I got it. I'll kick it with INFJ women all day. So anyway, what I'm getting at is a lot of times as sensitive men, we'll meet a woman and she'll come into our life. So I'm more of a demisexual. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. You should look it up. I might even do a podcast on demisexuals. It's like this sort of category of sexual, I don't know if you call it orientation, but we definitely fall in love with like your mind first, as far as if we want to date you. Like the physical attraction might be there, but as far as us wanting to have a deeper, more meaningful, committed relationship, there has to be an emotional and a mental connection there. So what I end up doing is I meet these women. I usually become friends first, because we just go have fun, right? We go to parties, we go hang out, we drink beers or go hiking or whatever. And a lot of times, I'll friend zone them first. Like I can sense they might have an interest, but I don't really know them yet. So it's like, well, let's just hang out, which is not typical for most guys. Most guys will never, they're trying to like score on day one, right? But I don't think a lot of INFP guys are like that. We want to get to know women. We see them as more than just sex objects, right? We could be sexually attracted, but it's like, it's so much more of a turn on when like when just their psychology and their like backstory a little bit. I think it's cooler. I love, the more I learn about somebody, the more attracted I am to them. And it can take months sometimes. So anyway, that's what I'm getting at. So I call INFPs, we're like the slow burners, right? We take a minute to like warm up. So, and we're picky, right? And I don't mean, when I say picky, I mean we have high standards, but it's not just physically attractive, but it's like I look for someone that's not argumentative, they're kind, they let me be myself around them. Like, that's what I mean by picky. Otherwise, we'll just be friends forever. I'm talking about like getting into a relationship. Well, that stuff takes time. We're like your ESTJ type men. Typically, they don't give a shit about that. They're just like, is she hot? Can I get her number and can I take her home tonight? Maybe when I was in my 20s, I was more down for that, but not at my age. No, it's boring. I'd rather just, kick it by myself. Anyway, so back to this slow burn thing. What ends up happening, and this has happened to me several times, and so I wanted to throw this out there to the INFP men. So you're in a situation, you're hanging out with a woman, if you may have not really liked her at first, like as a romantic partner, but the more you get to know her, the more you're like, wow, I really like this one. Out of like your circle of women friends, like this one's starting to like rise to the top because of her personality. Well, here's what's going to happen. There's like 3 things that could happen at this point. You can tell her that you like her, you don't want to be more than friends. But if she's already friend zoned you because you kind of took too long and you maybe overshared way too much with her, and you've lost the mystery that she might have had with you, you're screwed. You're friends. You're in the friend zone. You know what I mean? Like, it took too long. The second thing that could happen is if you're taking too long, she might like you. Like, if she's hanging out with you, she probably likes you, right? That's typically the case. Because a lot of us, we're just like, oh, we're just friends. But if she's like wanting to do stuff with you and hang out, there's an interest there. Because remember, guys, she's texting you and you're texting her and you're sending all these little like whatever cute text that you're sending your women friends. She's texting like 15 other guys. You're not the only guy. Women are smart, man. They always keep rotation going. And a lot of guys do too. I mean, I have several women I text, but don't think you're the only one. Don't think you're special, and you will run out of time. So what ends up happening is if you're mildly interested in her back, or you think there could be something, you have to tell her. You have to make the move. You have to go for it, because what's going to happen is your friend is one day going to send you a text and say, they're going to send you a text and say, oh, I met this cool guy Friday night at this party and we're dating now. He's my new boyfriend. Or I'm getting back together with my ex or whatever. And you're going to be like, oh shit, I took too long. Now you're going to feel those feelings. They're going to compound. As soon as she leaves or she decides that her heart is with somebody else now, you're going to feel it. It's going to feel horrible. But you took too long. You got too, that's the thing. These women aren't going to wait forever. I've been burned by this so many times. I get comfortable. I think, we're just friends. There's plenty of time. We'll just keep getting to know each other. And it's like, whoa. Okay. And then the third thing is, you tell her and it works. And here's the thing, INFP bros. Okay, here's what you do, right? If you're going to tell her that you like her, don't write her a 2-page love letter and get all sappy, because you've been hanging out for a couple months now, right? Or at least a month or whatever. You've been hanging out. She's getting to know you. She knows your humor. If you're like homies, if you're like kick it homies, your friends, like that's how I end up with a lot of these women. We're like friends, right? Like we know each other pretty well. I don't know. I think the best move is to just tell them, hey, we get along really well. Our vibe is compatible. What about exploring something beyond just friendship? What do you think about that? And just throw it out there. And if she says, no, I just see you like a friend, you'd be like, cool, let's go drink beers. But she'll respect you for trying, and you'll respect yourself, because you don't want to lose the opportunity, because that's one of the big problems I see with INFPs, probably INFJs too, is we just get caught up in the friend thing. Like, hey, I'm having fun. This is cool. And next thing you know, like your friend's dating somebody else. So be careful. So that's my number one tip for INFP, man, is don't take too long. Don't wait. Like, don't wait till you're 100% sure, because INFPs, we want to be 100% sure before we take a risk sometimes. Sometimes 70% is good enough. 70% is better than most people ever get in a potential relationship. So have some courage, guys. If you have a cool woman in your life, you think she might like you, she's hanging out with you, you like her a little bit, 50%, take the shot, man. And you women too, INFP women too, but this applies more to guys, I think, because we tend to, traditionally be the ones that pursue a little bit. I'm cool with, however it goes down, but the other thing I've noticed too, guys, is if a woman likes you, she'll let you know the indicators of interest are there. Just the fact she's hanging out with you, she'll like be there. She'll be around you. She will not be making it any more clear. She's like, I'm right here. You know what I mean? Like, we are hanging out. They'll basically tee them. They'll put themselves right in front of you. They'll be like, bro, you got to close this deal though. I'm not going to take it all the way, because you got to be some kind of a man. Even if you're an INFP, you got to man up. So anyway, guys, that's my dating tip. Don't wait too long. I got burned on that a few times, and I'm older now, and I look back and I think, man, there was a few I waited too long. So do your homework, hang out with your women friends. And the cool thing about INFPs is we can really just be friends with women. A lot of guys can't, but I'm friends with all my exes. Yeah, so it's cool. You have nothing to lose. You really don't. So anyway, that's it. That's it for this podcast. So I will try to do another one soon if I don't get massively depressed again. I think the next topic I'm going to do is this one. I had a falling out with a friend who I thought was a highly sensitive person, and I came to believe he was a covert narcissist masquerading as an introverted empath. And I will go through the difference between those two. They're very similar. They look very similar on the surface, but the covert narcissist will destroy a lot in your life. They're like a forest fire that will just burn your whole fucking life down. So I had to kick this person out of my life, and I'll talk about it, and I'll explain it, and I'll explain how I figured it out. So that one I think I'll do next. That's pretty much it. Thanks for the emails, you guys. I appreciate this HSP community. Hopefully you got something out of this. If you're depressed, just hold on. The world needs people like us. Don't hide away. Just hold on until it gets better, because it will. Try to do that self-care. If you really, take 30 days off from drinking. You INFP and INFJ and introverted dudes, be brave. If you have women in your life that you want to date, just fucking tell them. Don't be me. All right, you guys. Until next time, much love. Peace.